Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Channel Dad Bryon Lape Reads. And here we have some more fitness items as places open up and as people return to their gyms. Let's keep a few things in mind. We'll also have an article later covering what things you should do as you return to the gym so you don't get yourself injured, especially after 2 months off. So this is from Muscle and Fitness Magazine. This is Lisa Ann Smith's article. Now, I want everyone to take good note of the title, Useless Strength Exercises. Now, some of these exercises in this list, I've gone through the list already. And so if you're doing bodybuilding and some other things, or maybe toning, working on finishing moves, stuff like that, some of this you might say, well, but they all have some level of value. But what we're trying to do here is balance gaining strength versus spending time in the gym. Not everybody can be in there for 2 hours at a workout. We know you've already got a lot on your plate and you really have to cut the fat these days. When one of the most common excuses we hear for not hitting the gym is that there isn't enough time, productivity, and efficiency are key when you work out. You're wasting a lot of time and energy on things that don't give you the desired effect when you could be putting that time and energy into more productive exercises. Wayne Westcott, PhD, exercise science director at Quincy College in Massachusetts. He estimates that nearly half the people in the gym could substitute their usual strength training routine with better exercises to achieve their goals faster and more efficiently. Now, a lot of this too is kind of your beginner and intermediate. Most people don't really advance much above intermediate lifters. Unless you're trying, bodybuilder, power lifter, you're going to do some kind of competition, Olympic lift, stuff like that. You really don't have to gain that level. Of course, we want to point out that there are very, very few exercises that are completely useless across the board. But here are the ones that are less worthy of your time, particular of strength. Again, strength. So this is Smith machine squat. Now, I would put this one as don't even do this exercise unless you have serious problems with your knees and hips. Your whole range of motion with a Smith machine squat is wrong. The only time I would say to use this is what they call feet forward squats, where you basically put your feet in front of the Smith machine a few inches and you kind of lean back into the bar. So if the Smith machine wasn't there, you just go right on over. There's no way you can hold that position. It's a nice finishing move, but it's got to be really, if you have lying leg curls, I would rather do those. The primary reason I would call this move useless for most people is the fact that the Smith machine locks you into a guided bar path, which will reduce the co-contraction of your quads and hamstrings. Basically, you don't have to balance it as much. Okay. That decreases hamstring activation because you don't have to counteract the quads as much as the bar is already being stabilized. And this is true for a lot of machine type stuff. Yeah, you can get strong doing machines, but you're not working secondary muscles very effectively. Standing chest fly. Now this one to me is like the only way you do this is if you're bodybuilding or you're trying to make your pump your muscles. And this is like a finishing move, and you go light weights and you do like 100 reps. But for strength, no. It doesn't work the chest at all because the chest isn't working against gravity. Yeah, you're doing, most of the time this works your back more. Working are your shoulders holding the weights against gravity in a lateral raised position. So if you're not saying it's a bad I'm not saying it's bad exercise, but people think it works your chest and it doesn't. Now this one is interesting, is tricep extension or kick. Now they show kickbacks here. Tricep extensions or kickbacks is a classic one that most people will waste a lot of time on and create a whole lot of work, more on the training effort from doing things like push-ups and any kind of presses. And I agree with that. Again, as a warm-up, kind of get your triceps warmed up a little bit. Isolation move or a finishing move, but not a strength move. Dumbbell loaded side bends. Now, this is something I see people do all the time. And most people, here's what's crazy. Not only is it a waste of time, vast majority of people do it wrong. This is not a speed move. You go down slowly, you come up slowly, but it's best if you only hold one weight. Unfortunately, when you're holding two dumbbells, one in each hand, each dumbbell counterbalances. Okay, so this is basic physics. What you're trying to do is maintain a straight posture while you have weight. Go grab that 20-pound weight on one side, put one hand on your hip, and make sure you maintain your balance. And then watch yourself in the mirror and go down slowly and up slowly. No momentum. Then it has some effect, but again, for the vast majority of the time, what you're going to get from that, if you were planking or if you were just doing squats, other things like that would actually help your midsection. There's not much a muscle effort when they balance each other. Okay, so we'll go on. That's mostly physics. Now, leg extensions. Now, leg extensions should be a finishing move. Or if you cannot do a squat for some reason until you build strength, then I would say do leg presses after that. And then like this guy, the feet are just way too close. They're just really, but again, if you're trying to bodybuild and you need to be able to get the pump going, this is where leg presses are good, because vast majority of the time, the machines, there's a safety catch on it. So when you fail, you can, just lock it in. You can really get that lactic acid buildup. But hamstrings are not, and it's easy to go too deep and actually end up raising your lower back or curling your lower back off the mat. And it's hard to know if you're doing that. So you don't have any hamstrings at all during leg extensions or leg press. I would say, leg extensions. Lying leg curls would be effective. Now, the seated ones are pretty much a waste of time. So there's a lot of shear force and comprehension force created on the knees. Yes, and you can also get some things on the lower back. It's better to do something like the lunge or a squat where the knee extension motion is involved, but also utilizing a whole lot more muscle fibers around that joint where that knee extension is. Okay, motion is involved. Okay, I get you. Helps if you don't skip words. Plate loaded machines. Again, this is an isolation move, should be a finishing move or a warm up, but not really a strength building. Training on machines can be very intense in development of some qualities. However, in terms of efficiency and use of time, remember, we're trying to get out of the gym. We don't have 2 hours to spend. Machines allow us to train in one plane of motion, but we move in 3 planes. Now, I would argue that we move in 2, but that's okay. Machines allow a primary motion in one. Okay, I already read that. In one plane, and the other 2 planes are stabilized by the motion of the apparatus. Now, what is shown here, that thing swings out, so it kind of swings through 2 planes. If we train with free weights, we have to control all 3 planes. So basically, if you think about holding something up above your head, you've got to push it up. You've got to lower it, so that's one plane. You don't want it going forward or back. That's the second one. You don't want it going left and right. That's the third. Using this thought process, training on the machine is 33% is useful. Again, it's the stabilizing methods. We're trying to build strength and not spend a lot of time in the gym. But if you're starting to build strength and you want to, say, sculpt a little bit, something like this, but again, finishing move, or it's a different day, right? You may have a day where you're just doing high intensity pump and you're not really going to gain strength. Russian twist. Now, this is one I see people do, and I've had lower back problems for a long time. This makes me cringe when I see people do this. People do all kinds of versions of this. If there are any 2 motions that yield negative adaptations in the structure of the spine, they are loaded movements and repeated movements of trunk flexion and rotation. You got to really be careful with these because you twist wrong and your back is screwed. While these exercises like forms of crunches or Russian twists can be very intense, there are dozens of other options in the train those spinal muscles for the same finish. I wish they'd list a few of them. Bicep curl. And again, this should be either a slight warm up or a complete finishing move. But it's a pump move. Okay. It's really how you can get the pump in your biceps, similar to extensions, to getting the pump in your triceps. For curls, you're better off doing pull-ups, chin-ups, pull-ups, now pull-ups won't do a whole lot with the biceps, but they will do the back. The chin-ups will. Various pull-down exercises because you've got multiple joints involved, so you can use a lot more weight. Again, strength, right? We're trying to build strength, not necessarily size. Stress is a good thing because this is what causes adaptations. There's a time and a place for those single jointed exercises, but it's primarily for putting on the icing on the cake. Again, that pump at the end. Pilates. Now, Pilates is very interesting. Most people who excel at Pilates already have great flexibility. Well, not impossible. Very few people improve in Pilates when they are already inflexible. Pilates happens to be a useful warm-up or cool-down if coached properly, but it is a terrible waste of time for improved strength or movement in already limited individuals. So you can get some flexibility from this. A lot of it's body weight, things like that, and it has its place. But again, and this is the kind of thing I would do as a warm-up, especially if I was doing squats or something, or even bench press, to get the whole body involved, get the blood flowing. But this is like 10 minutes, right? This isn't 20 minutes of cardio, because then you're wasting a lot of strength. And now this has actually been a bit of a controversy for a long time. I remember reading about this in the 90s, okay, the abductor-adductor machine. I used to do the one where you bring your knees together. It really helped build my legs, but I wasn't squatting properly, and that was the problem. If you squat properly, and this is the thing, is a lot of times women don't want to squat, I know they see a woman on here, and many times women use these, but men can use them as well. They're very easy to do wrong. But when they are done right, they have their place. But the strength you're going to gain from this, if you just did real squats, you would do better than what this machine can do. Most people, reasons for doing these exercises, that they're trying to reduce fat and stuff, which you can't spot reduce. They're much better alternatives for that exercise, and muscle below the fat doesn't do anything directly to the fat. Now, it can burn, but you don't necessarily know where your body's pulling those reserves from. It might be that spot, but it could be anywhere on your body. You can get the same stabilizing muscles and the main power mover muscles involved when doing things like sit-ups. Doing a lunge also recruits more abductors, and again, a lunge and squats will do the same thing. A lunge also for stability, especially if you do a walking lunge. You don't necessarily have to do it for weights, but keeping your upper body straight, keeping your balance, that can help too. Again, a lot of times with the machine, especially say like this, and then I forget, one is moving in and the other one's moving out. This and leg press, if you can't squat for some reason, don't have the strength, right? You can't even do the motion without any weight. And you need to start to build a little bit of strength to help stabilize. So maybe you practice it because it's a balance thing, as well as you use a leg press and maybe a leg curls and you could use this. I think the ab is in. To build your strength to a point, and then once you are able to do the actual squat or walking lunge or weighted walking lunge or farmer's carries, anything like that, you do those. You stop doing this. And then if you have to do you could use a machine like this to do some kind of high rep, but like 20 reps, but it's got to be pretty tough. But yeah, most people, they put their feet wrong. They bring their knees in too much. They don't keep the lower leg straight with the upper leg. I used to do craziness where I would actually, last to failure and have to push them together for the last few, and they do very slow. That's the other thing too. Depending on where you put the machine, you can really injure yourself, such as if you fail and these things go swinging out and you don't have the flexibility as they open up your legs. But you can help build that kind of stuff with it too. Again, it's a finishing move. It's not a strength move. And if you're looking for strength, and my thing too, as people, again, as I get back, hopefully back to the gym soon, testing the strength, that's the first thing, is you got to build strength. This is a mistake a lot of people make. I made it for years, thinking, hey, I'm going to look at a bodybuilder magazine. I'm going to do these workouts. And yeah, you'll gain some strength, but not nearly what you would if you were doing 5 sets of 5 or a Texas method, or say 4 sets of 3. Or 4 sets of 8 rather, and every time you do your all sets, so either 3x5 or 5x5 or whatever, and then you do those work sets are all the same weight, and then the next time you come in and you add 5 pounds or whatever, depending on what exercise we're talking about. So what do you think about this list? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you. Goodbye. All right, let's see if we can do it this time when the dog's barking. I'm really late. All right, 3, 2, 1. Wait a minute, why did I sound so loud?